globe, 100-mile runner. I think you mentioned you did a 200 mile.
Yes.
So that's an interesting one. And all-round legend, David Goggins. So thank you very much, David, for your time.
Well, thank
really
you.
appreciate it. So before we even start, if you're listening to this, stop listening right now if you have not read the book Can't Hurt Me, because a lot of the stuff that's said in here is going to be given so much more context if you've listened to that already. So pause this, go and read that book, go and immerse yourself into that, and then come back. So, David, we've got around 20 minutes. We'll just fire straight into this.
Let's do it.
So you've got an incredibly impressive story, very extreme, I think a lot would say. Do you think you've had to sacrifice a lot of areas of your life in order to achieve greatness in that? And if so, do you think it's been the right move throughout your life, or would you have changed it at all?
First of all, it was the exact right move. I asked that question first, and I had to sacrifice almost everything to accomplish what I had to pull off. So I had to overcome so many different issues in my life, and the only way that I could have done that was to sacrifice literally everything. I had to give my all. I had to become very unbalanced to be able to pull it off, because the mind really wants to go to a happy place and it wants to stay there. But not everything in life is happy, and everything in life is going to be fun. And my life in my mind wanted to always go in that direction. So yes, it was very uncomfortable, a lot of sacrifice, and I would never change it for anything in the world.
And we've had a chat today, obviously a mastermind session, which is great. Got to see you on stage, fantastic. And something you mentioned is that, and I don't really know how I took this, and maybe it's out of context. You said, as you get more successful, and I don't think you meant just in business, just in all areas of your life, you have less friends.
Right.
Because they're not your friends. They always want something from you. And I was just wondering if you can expand around it, because as I heard that, I thought, well, that's fucking sad. That's pretty fucking depressing.
Right.
So could you?
So what happens is, well, for me at least, the more successful I became, I call them cockroaches, bottom feeders, people who were like, you know what, this guy worked his ass off. He did it, he worked his ass off, but I didn't. So let me see if I can just attach myself to him or her, whoever worked their ass off, whoever spent those hours, those years trying to become whoever they are. And then you have these people who are like, you know what? Oh, I'm your friend. So where can I fit into all of this? Where can I get on your team? There's a lot of those people once you become very successful, and they come out of the woodworks and they have these great ideas and these great plans, but they ain't put any work into it. But you put the work into it. You're the commodity. So that's kind of where that comes from, just from firsthand experience. And also, the more successful you become, the less time you have. Because to become very successful, it takes everything, especially if you want to stay at the top. Stay at the top, you have to continue to grind. You can't be like, oh, I made it, I'm here, I'm done. 24 hours in a day, and most of those hours are spent grinding in your business, grinding at whatever you do, and your family. There's not much room for anything else. So
Great answer. So I'm 27 now, and I think assertive. Some people would say aggressive in getting what I want. And at the moment, it's all about business. I want to hustle. And it's not so much about the money. I thought it was.
Right.
And then as soon as I started making the money, I realized how irrelevant that kind of is. It's about, I want to help as many people in the world. And I started having a much stronger value focus, and found that I then started making more money as aside from that. But how does someone like me as a young entrepreneur going out in the world, because I'll be honest, I've got an ego and I want to be liked by people.
Right.
I feel that I want to be liked. And yet as I'm pushing more for me and doing more for me, and I imagine a lot of my listeners will be feeling the same, how do you measure that dance? Is it a case of just get those fuckers out of your life, they're not a part of it, or is there a balance?
It is about getting those fuckers out of your life. And your ego will destroy you. I had one, a lot of us have one, a lot of us alpha males have an ego. We're driven by ego, a lot of us. But what happens is we want people to like us. And that is the biggest downfall in business. To be a leader, not everybody's gonna like you. To get from point A to point B very successfully, you're gonna piss people off. And the one big thing I found out in life is when you're grinding hard if you're hearing all these different voices from all these different people because you want to make everybody happy, you're going to implode your business. You're going to implode yourself. So, and one thing about it is you said you want to help people. That is a great businessman. Great businessman. If your true goal in life is to help people first, fuck the money, fuck the fame, fuck people liking you. If it is, I want to truly help people, you will be very successful. Financially, in every other, but your first real passion has to be people first. Not like it's a fucking slogan. It has to come out of you. You have to believe this. People first.
I think something that happened in my life, there was somebody that I was really close to, and part of the service I developed actually cost me more to put out there than I was making. So I was charging around 15,000, but it was costing me about 20,000 each one I put out there. And we're managing to get those costs to about break even now, but I still want to pump it out there because I know it's the most valuable way at the moment that I can find. And this person, I feel, was bringing me down. It's just like, no, you're not making money. That's a stupid decision. Mm-hmm. Whereas actually, it only represents 10% of my business. 90% of my business is very profitable. So,
right.
And it was actually said, look, you either get on board with my vision or get the fuck out of it completely.
Right.
And there's still a little bit of me that feels a little bit harsh for doing that, a little bit selfish for just looking out for myself. But I'm guessing what you're saying is sometimes you have to be selfish to be selfless to the great picture.
100%. So for the first 2 years, I sold nothing. I gave everything free. All my content, everything I did was free. Only thing I've ever sold in the last 2 years I've been on Facebook, social media, whatever, I've done one thing. I did 3 videos about my book, and that was it. That was it. I'm not trying to sell you anything. People have to trust you. And what you're doing right now is you're gaining the trust of the people. You don't gain trust of the people if you're trying to look for this dollar bill. They see right through that shit.
Right. Right call then.
Yep. Right call.
So let's shift away from that. So routines, and I'm a big routine person.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem I find with routines for myself is I can follow them, and people say I can do 6 months, a year of morning routine, getting up at 4 a.m. And then it can be a week or 2 where I'm thrown out of it and then I'm fucked. So I seem to be somebody that it's like I follow it rigorously or I fall off the bandwagon.
Right.
And you seem to be a man of structure and, you know, the discipline. SEALs probably beat that into you about with other stuff as well. But how often do you fall off the bandwagon?
Well,
I'm telling you, between now and April, no later than May of next year, there's going to be the biggest housing opportunity